everybody, this is Hornlitz here, and welcome back for more Let's Glitch The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. In the last episode, we cleared Elden Twilight, and then did some really weird glitch stuff, and went back and got the Iron Boots, and a couple side quest stuff. And in this episode, I'm going to be going to Lanayru Twilight, actually, believe it or not. Even though we haven't beaten the Goron Mines. Actually, we can't even beat Goron Mines yet because of reasons, but I'll get to those reasons later. But yeah, so I'm going to be heading to Lanayru Twilight, and it's going to be a little bit of a weird method. But actually first, before we get into that, there are two collectibles I'm going to be getting right here. First, there's a heart piece. Just beyond this little cliff bit thing, there is a heart piece in this tree right there. And so, because it's, yeah, there we go. Okay, I got that. Just wanted to make sure it was actually going to come to me. And then right here, there is a golden bug, and I just want to collect this golden bug. There we go. Okay, got that golden bug. And with that, now we can go and do the trick. So this is called Lanayru Gate Clip. So over here, there is a gate that is closed, and I should not be able to get through it. And yeah, I really shouldn't be able to get through it. But I can. That's just how this game works. So basically, this gate is not programmed very well, or at least it seems like it, because there are actually two different ways to get through it and one way to get past it. So I'm not going to be going over all three of those methods. I'm going to just be going over the first two. Basically, right off the bat, the most consistent and the easiest method to do is if you transform into Wolf and then come over to here, just kind of about to the center. It's not actually precise. And then you need to angle yourself something like this. This also, actually that's too much. This also isn't precise. Maybe something like that. But then what you want to do after you've angled yourself is you want to do a B attack sideways into the gate, and then you want to do some side hops. And hopefully, if everything goes well, you should just clip right through the gate. Okay, my angle, or my position was a little off. Can that not happen, please? Right there, okay. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. It's honestly, like, that's literally as simple as it's... what you saw there, like, it's as easy as it looks. If it looks hard, then it's not. But yeah, right here, I'm just going to be going and doing it backwards, because you actually can do it backwards as well. Just because I want to show what the other method of clipping through the gate is. If I can... My position is, like, bad. Okay, come on. Okay, that's way too far forward. Basically, the way that this glitch sort of works is you're actually, like, clipping through, because, like, each half of the gate is its own separate entity. When you, like, do a B attack, it sort of makes them start swinging, and that creates, like, a little gap in between the two gates, or in the two halves of the gate, and you can actually just, like, do a side hop through that, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, that's sort of just how the actual trick works. Come on, dude. This is not hard. I found it's like a little harder to do reverse. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's a little harder to do the reverse direction, but fortunately there isn't really any reason you ever have to do it reverse, so it's not a big deal. But anyways, so now I want to go over this method, which is the Epona method of it, which is really stupid. And actually, I do not have my proper visual cue. Normally, if you have Elden Province Hyrule Field on your map, there's this really good visual cue for it, but I don't have that part of my map, so I can't actually use that. But maybe I can just kind of guesstimate something like this, maybe, should be relatively good. I don't really have a visual cue, like, because my visual cue doesn't really work, but this should hopefully work. So then after you've done that, just get off the horse and then side hop in between the horse and the gate, and then start doing some rolls. And eventually, hopefully, if you have the right angle, you should clip through the gate. Like that. So yeah, that is what Epona Gate Clip, or I guess it's just another version of Lanayru Gate Clip. That's what that should look like, and you kind of just can walk through at that point. So yeah, that is a really dumb trick. The Wolf method is so much better. I would recommend doing that version, but if you don't have access to transforming into Wolf, that method is the only method you really have. Actually, there is one other method of doing the trick, as I mentioned, but it involves using another glitch that I want to get into later, so I'm not going to go over it quite yet. But anyways, at this point, the wall to Lanayru Twilight is right here, and this is not the normal entrance to Lanayru Twilight, so you might be wondering what happens when we go through that, when we go through the little barrier there. Well, actually, we aren't even going to be able to get that far, because at this point, I'm going to transform, and actually, I'm going to hit the cutscene, and even if I didn't transform, I'd hit the cutscene anyways. And now right here, actually, Link kind of deforms again. Gotta love that. But after that's done, actually, I want to equip Iron Boots. We can actually just get up here and jump off and fall into Lake Hylia, just like you would in that normal sequence on the Great Bridge of Hylia. And you will be in Lanayru Twilight just fine. So yeah, that is how we get into Lanayru Twilight without being Goron Mines. Now right here, we have a glitch. And oh boy, is this a hard one. Fortunately, there are some easy setups with this trick, and it's not that terrible, but it's really hard. And I've done a ton of practice on this trick, so it makes it not terrible, but it's really hard to get first try, or to get, especially when you're first learning it. But anyways, so basically the idea behind this glitch is we are going to be getting into Lakebed Temple with nothing but what we have right now. So basically, once you land in the water, don't actually move at all. Just rise up like you normally would. And then once you reach the top and after the mid-text, there's a certain visual cue you need to line yourself up with. So basically, it's really hard to see, but there's this tiny little line on the wall. It's really hard to see, even on my TV and on the recording and everything, but it's hard to see, but you need to line up the right side of the first heart on the heads-up display there with that little line. So right about something like this should be good. So it's really hard to see, but hopefully that made sense. And also, I guess I should mention that this setup that I'm using only works on TVs that are using 4:3 display. You can put the game in 16:9 display, especially if you're on the Wii version, and it changes the setup completely. But yeah, that is basically what you want. And now that I think about it, this setup doesn't work on the Wii version, but that doesn't matter because I'll get to that in a bit. But I'll be showing a different way of doing this for the Wii version, or rather, my Wii footage grabber Habreno is going to be doing that. But anyways, so right here. This is the right angle that you want. At this point, you want to start swimming straight forward, and just keep swimming straight forward until a certain visual cue happens. Basically, you see that my iron boots are on Y. I'm going to be lining up the tip of the right boot with, okay, I'm a little too far forward, with this line right here on the screen. It's a little bit hard to see. Actually, this one's easier to see, but yeah, you kind of want to line it up with that. And at that point, you have the right setup. So then, you're in the right spot. So then you want to look down, and there are two different visual cues you can sort of use. One of them, if you see that little like cliff there, it's kind of angled right there. If you sort of turn your camera a little bit until it's basically a straight line, it goes off the camera or off screen a little bit, but you can sort of tell that it'd be about a straight line. That is about the angle that you want. The other angle the other visual cue that I use is right in the corner. If you can see, there's that like little black dot. It's a little hard to see. All of these visual cues are a little hard to see, but yeah, those that visual cue you want that to be like right against the bottom of the screen, or like in the corner of your TV or something. It would depend on your TV, but yeah, it's those are basically the visual cues that you want to use. And then at this point, I'm going to cancel out, lock on. I'm going to put on Iron Boots and start holding forward as I'm sinking. And then I'm going to pull up the item menu at a certain point and explain what to do from there. So hopefully I can actually get this. This should be the right angle, if everything went right. So you should be sinking down, and I should just barely graze this pillar that's right here. So just like that. And then right here, I'm going to pull up the item menu. The visual cue that I use is the lantern right here. It should be lined up with basically the kind of the break in between the two like the two textures or like teardrop things on the pillar there. It should be lined up with about that, and that's and I guess depending on what items you have, it might be a different item. But whatever item is in this spot right here, that should be. You should line that up, and if you don't have an item in that spot, I guess the bottom of Link's feet line up with that. I don't know. You should have an item in this spot right here. But anyways, at this point, I actually want to equip. It doesn't have to be the lantern, but it has to be something other than what I have on my X and Y buttons. I want to do that, and basically what that does is that force unequips the iron boots. And what that means is basically, as soon as I take off or cancel the item menu now, I will no longer have iron boots on. The first frame that I have control again, the iron boots are gone. So basically with that, I can start swimming up immediately. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to start mashing A to start swimming up into the pillar. And then I'm going to pull up the item menu at a very specific point again. So hopefully this will work. Okay, right there, you'll notice Link popped sideways a little bit. That is what I want. And at this point, I want to re-equip Iron Boots. And now I brought up the item menu a little bit early, which is actually my setup for it, but some people like bringing up the item menu later. It's not like it really matters. But then at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to cancel, and then when I get a little bit higher up on the pillar, I want to pull up Midna. So this is like press the Z button to pull up Midna. So hopefully I can get this. I'm probably gonna have to like wait like a half second or something. So yes, right there, this is going to work. So you'll notice that you'll notice right there, I popped up a little bit, and that I'm like halfway inside the wall in the pillar. If I cancel this text and put on Iron Boots, I will clip through the wall right now. What? Apparently if you wait too long, it messes up the trick as well. So that's not actually gonna work right now, because I clipped through the... This trick is stupid, by the way. It's stupid and precise. So I waited too long. Had I pulled the Iron Boots out immediately, or had I canceled the text rather and then pulled out Iron Boots, I would have clipped through the wall. Now, the fact that I died right now actually isn't necessarily a bad thing, because when you respawn in a different spot, and so there are some different visual cues that you have to use in order to be able to do this trick. So I'm going to go over those now, because I died. So anyways, the first visual cue, basically you want to turn around without moving, and then angle the boomerang up with right about here. Basically, there's this, like, sort of vertical line that you can see going, like, on the wall. I'll highlight it again. You kind of want to line up the crosshairs, the vertical part of it, with basically just like the right side of it, or the left side of it. It's not like super precise necessarily. This should work though. And then what you want to do is you want to lock on and start moving forward until you hit the water. What that does is that ensures that you have enough air to do this trick. If you roll into the water, sometimes you like go underwater for a little bit, and that actually messes up the air timer a little bit, and so it sometimes makes it so that you can't do the trick, but basically if you just walk into it, it should be fine. And then at this point, there's another visual cue that I need to use for where to stop. This one at least is a little easier to see. Right here. Basically, the word items there, right above the D-pad on the left side of the screen there, the I in that word, I want to line the I there up with the right side of this little white patch right here. And that's how I know that I have the right spot if I'm doing the backup setup. And then at this point, I should be in basically the exact same spot as I was before. And then I can line myself up with this normally. And now, because I failed the trick, because I was taking too long explaining stuff, I'm going to try and do this quickly as if I were in a speedrun setting. So I'm pretty much not going to be talking throughout most of this. And hopefully I can get it and you can see what the trick looks like. So let's hopefully do that. Alright, so I got the trick. So with that, basically, as soon as you clip, you have a very limited amount of time to start equipping your Iron Boots, like, in little intervals, just so that you can start, like, moving horizontally towards the lake bed temple trigger. And it is, like, it's precise. You do not have much time to spare. So you pretty much need to instantly, like, make a break for the dungeon. And then at this point, I'm going to be saving and quitting. Actually, I'm going to save to a different log. But basically, I'm going to be saving and quitting right now. Let's just save over this one. And what that is going to do is, actually, I guess I can reset at this point. That is going to set me into the main part of Lakebed Temple. And the only reason that that works, actually, is because I have the Master Sword. If I didn't have the Master Sword at the start, or if I did the save warp here, I would actually appear back in the water, like in the water tunnel there, and I wouldn't be able to get here. So the fact that I have the Master Sword it basically just makes this route possible. Like, it's really nice like that. But anyways, so I mentioned, actually I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the Wii version, you can do Pillar Clip, which is what that trick was called, on the Wii version, but there's a much, much easier and much better way of doing it. And I might as well show it off right here. Alright, so the Wii method of doing this is actually the first Wii exclusive glitch that we have. It is called the Midna Dive, and basically the idea behind this is whenever you pull up Midna, it forces you to drop whatever you're holding, and whatever you're holding can sometimes push you, and so, especially in this case, it can push you off of a ledge, and you will be falling while the text is up. So the reason that is useful is because when you are falling, you're kind of like accelerating a bit while you're doing it, and you can kind of like pass through a floor. And so as you'll see right away here, when he pulls up Midna here, he'll start falling, and then when he cancels, he will be way out of bounds. And with this, you can actually just swim to the Lakebed loading zone. But it's very important that you need to cancel it pretty quickly right after you've clipped, otherwise you won't be able to make it to the loading zone on time. But yeah, this is a much easier method than Pillar Clip, and if you have the Wii version, I would recommend trying to do this, although I do believe it's 1.0 only. But anyways, back to the GameCube version. Alright, so now that that has been shown off, I realize I actually forgot to do something. So before I actually load that file with Lakebed Temple in it that I just made, I actually want to load a different file first. Specifically, that is the file right here that I saved, that I should have saved in episode 2, but forgot to save and then went back and remade. This is the file that's in Sacred Grove. The reason that I need this file is because it actually lets me reset the boss flag. So if you remember back in episode 3, I mean, how could you forget with the amounts of explaining I had to do for it? But basically, by skipping that Skull Kid cutscene right there, that sets the boss flag to a value of 1. And so at this point, I can reset the game, and the game permanently has the boss flag set to a value of 1 right now. And actually, okay, I need to switch memory cards again. But yeah, so just like with the other one, with the King Bublin fight, by skipping the cutscene there, that sets the boss flag to, I don't know, a high number as well. So it's basically this exact same concept. It's just a slightly different method that you wouldn't think necessarily would work. But yeah, that works too, because I guess Skull Kid counts as a boss in this game or something like that. So it's a little weird. Oh, nice, that guy hit me. Okay. But yeah, anyways, now that that's all done, we can head into this room. And this room is a little bit weird. We have to do something different for this room, because normally you're supposed to use use bomb arrows, or at the very least just bombs, to knock down these stalactites, but we don't have bombs, and we don't have arrows, so what are we supposed to do? Well, by now you should realize that the long jump attack is the most powerful thing in this game. So you can literally just target right about here and do a long jump attack, and you'll get up here, skipping the first stalactite, and then you can, oops, I went a little too far there. You can do a similar thing here, where you just go all the way up here to the tip of this thing, and then throw the boomerang up and do a jump attack, and you'll land up here. So that's pretty nice, but that's not possible in the Wii version, right? Because it reuses a long jump attack? Well, not quite. Let the footage roll. Okay, so the Wii version of this is extremely stupid. At least I believe it is, because I've never done this trick myself, but everybody who has done it tells me it's awful, and judging by what you have to do, it looks pretty bad. So basically, if you remember when I was explaining Boomerang long jump attack, I said that you can get a long jump attack off of enemies. Well, we're going to be abusing that here. So with that Helmasaur that's on the second floor there, you can sort of bait him out into a specific spot that's on that little, like, pillar thing that like juts out of the wall. You need to get him onto there, and then once he turns around, you can do a jump attack from a semi-precise spot, and you can land up top. And it looks really dumb. Like, again, I've never done this myself, and honestly, I don't want to. It looks pretty bad, just based on how Helmasaurs work, even. But anyways, so yeah, right here, as you can see, do jump attack, and you can get up there. And then for this second one, you actually have to transform into wolf and do a dash jump to climb up. You can't do it as human. I tried. But yeah, so that's basically how the Wii version would do it, and it's pretty dumb. But anyways, now that that's done, back to the GameCube version. Okay, so now that I've shown off that trick and how absolutely stupid it is, or rather now that Hebrano showed it off, thanks again to him, I can move on through the rest of the dungeon, or at least for what I'm doing right now. So right here, once I enter this room, I'm actually going to be doing a bit of an interesting trick. I'm going to be using a double LJA right here, so basically just two LJAs chained together, but you don't actually need to do this. There is a way to get this, or to achieve this, without any glitches or without anything. Like, you're supposed to be able to get to this point anyways at this point. But this is just a faster way of getting there. So basically, you get into this this little spot right here where basically you're on the top stair, but your front foot there is on the stair one down from where you're supposed to be standing. So yeah, that's kind of the setup you want. And then you want to aim this, kind of do the first target right about here. It's kind of right in between where the red part of the claw shot target is and the edge of the claw shot target. So it's kind of like just on that golden part right there. And then the other couple targets that you want to do are like right about here. It's not actually that precise, but you basically just want to target it so that it's over this like overhang thing, just because that counts as a floor, and so you can get a long jump attack off of that. So yeah, then you just want to do two quick LJAs, and you should land over here. And that just gets you there faster. And so now I don't want to bother changing the staircase at all or anything. In any percent, you would change the staircase right away, but we don't need to do that in 100%. Because we actually want it to be in a different orientation for later. But anyways, right here, there's a heart piece in this room, just over in that little alcove over there. But we're actually not supposed to be able to get to that alcove until we've raised the water in this room, which you aren't supposed to be able to do that until the very end of the dungeon. But that doesn't stop us. So basically, we can actually get that heart piece without, doing, like, anything in the dungeon. And the way we do that is right here. If you'll see right here, the, sort of like there's this, I guess, imaginary line that is created by the edge of these vines. And it sort of comes to a point. I'll kind of highlight it right here. You kind of want to be standing right about there, maybe a bit to the left of it. So you kind of want to stand right about, like, this should honestly be fine right about here. And then we're going to be doing a long jump attack onto this pillar right here. But we want to be careful because we do not want to break this pot, because the pot's important. So what we want to do is just get to the side of it. So aim kind of just to the right of the pot here. And then if we look up, we'll notice there's a bit of a platform up there. We can target above there, which gives us ground to do an LJA off of. And then we want to target over here on top of this on top of the alcove right there, because the alcove right there is actually slightly above the platform with the pot on it, and so we can get an LJA off of that. So we just want to do an LJA there, and then do an LJA there. And just like that, we have gotten over here without breaking the pot, which is pretty great. So then we want to grab the pot and set it down onto this switch right here, and that will let us go and get this heart piece that's in here. But first I want to just kill this guy real quick. And then we can get the heart piece. Now, after we get the heart piece, there's a cool trick that I'm going to be doing. I'm not actually sure what this is called, but I guess I can have the description say what it is. But basically what we want to do is we want to lock on after getting this without moving and do a roll. Just a roll, no movement whatsoever. And then we want to throw the boomerang and do two shield bashes, which, okay, I guess I mentioned last episode or whatever episode it was in that we were never going to use the shield bash. I guess we use it once for this, which you don't technically need to use it for this. It's just a little bit faster because it gets us back to the beginning of the room earlier. Basically, so I'm going to do this and do two shield bashes, and that should push me through the floor, just like that. So it looks pretty funny, and basically it just respawns us up here. It prevents us from having to actually go climb up these vines to get back up here, so that's pretty nice. And then right here, I'm going to do two more LJAs, across to that door right there. So basically, I'm just going to be using the overhang again. I'm going to target right about here should be good, and then right here should be good. And then with that, we can just get an LJA and another LJA, and we are over here. So it's pretty simple. Now right here, this is actually sort of the wrong way. We're not supposed to be going this way quite yet. Normally, you're actually supposed to come into here and get that chest there has a small key in it, and then you're supposed to go around to the other side and go through this water path that's in behind that fence there. But because I set the boss flag earlier, I can actually just enter this door, which is, by the way, this is the mini boss room, but this is like the back entrance to it. I'm not actually supposed to be able to come through here, and that's pretty obvious because there's this nice big gate here in the way, and I'm not supposed to be able to get past it. But because I have the boss flag set, if I look up, I am able to start the fight from the back entrance rather than the normal entrance, which normally you wouldn't be able to do that. But anyway, so now I'm in the Deku Toad fight, which is pretty cool. So now I just want to kill this or kill these guys, and now this is a very interesting fight. I'm going to actually do the fight probably and then explain it a little later because I want to sort of explain how it works. But real quick, if I do a C up here, he'll actually drop faster. Okay, I messed it up. So it is actually possible with the Master Sword to do a one cycle on Deku Toad with nothing but your sword, that is. So basically what you want to do is, this is actually something that will happen a lot with a lot of different enemies or a lot of different like bosses in this game or like mini bosses or whatnot. And that's that if you just never do a combo finisher on these guys, so basically something like if you do 4 hits in a row or whatever, or like in quick succession, if you never do a combo finisher on any of these enemies, they just never stand up, or at least it doesn't automatically make them stand up, because usually whenever you kill a boss or like a mini boss or whenever you do a combo finisher on a mini boss, it will like instantly trigger it to get back up and cancel its vulnerability. But if you just do normal slashes and never do a combo finisher, then it works just fine. You can just like keep slashing them and they never stand up unless they have like a timer. So for instance, Deku Toad does have a timer attributed to him, so that's whenever you, like if you just wait for too long, he'll eventually stand up or like get back up and he won't be vulnerable again. But yeah, with just normal slashes, you can kill him in that time frame, and so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, so with that, we have the claw shot ends at that point. What? Oh, right. Okay, I was getting a little confused. We are supposed to save warp at this point, and then at this point, I need to go and get Uku, so I will go and do that, but actually I think I'm going to go and do that in the next episode, because this episode has been pretty long. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button. If you didn't, fine, click the dislike button. Follow me on the links in the description, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!